Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Well, hang on to your hats. It's going to be an hour's worth of drama with the man with the action-packed expense account. Yes, Bob Bailey and yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and we have not only a half-hour program, but also part 4 of the Flight 6 matter. That's all coming up this hour. But a special guest also on an episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. The only time I think this happened. Vincent Price in the Price of Fame matter. This originally broadcast February 2nd, 1958.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Johnny, this is Vincent Price. I'm calling from Hollywood.
Oh, sure. My name's Shirley Temple. Now, who is it and what... Really Vincent Price?
Do I sound like Mickey Rooney?
Well, no. But now, tell me, Mr. Price.
Now, look, the name is Vincent.
Okay, Vincent. What can I do for you?
Johnny, I have a little problem in connection with one of my paintings insured for $100,000.
$100,000? You call that a little problem?
This painting has suddenly disappeared.
Oh, I see. What's the insurance company?
State Mutual.
Oh, well, they have a small branch office right there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I know, but Bert Parker, the man who sold me the policy and should take care of this matter, well, every time I've called him, he's been out. And I learned just this morning that nobody knows where he is.
Okay, Vincent, I'll grab the first plane.
Bob Bailey in the exciting adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
And now, Act One of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the State Mutual Insurance Company, Home Office, Hartford, Connecticut. Following is an account of expenses incurred during my investigation of the Price of Fame matter. Expense account item 1, $178.50, plane fare and incidentals, Hartford to Los Angeles. By the time the big silver Constellation made its landing at the International Airport, it finally dawned on me that I hadn't arranged with Vincent Price about where and how and what time I'd meet him. But as I picked up my luggage, I discovered a hungry-looking crowd of autograph hounds milling about the tall, gracious man I was looking for.
Oh, sure. I'm glad to. Look, but just one at a time, will you please? I can't very well. All right, there you are. Now I have to meet a friend.
Gee, just one more, please. Huh, Mr. Price?
All right, if you insist. Here. Best wishes from T. Willie Rocking Horse.
Huh?
How are you, Johnny?
Oh, great, but I didn't expect...
Johnny who? You mean to say you folks don't recognize Johnny Dollar?
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Attaboy, Johnny. Give 'em all. I'll wait for you in my car. It's right over here at the curb.
Yeah, but look, will you? Hey.
Right here, Mr. Dollar.
No, you don't. I'm nobody. Please. By the time I got away from that mob, I felt as though I'd been run through a ringer. But we finally took off in Vincent's car and drove to his beautiful home up in one of the canyons west of Beverly Hills. Nestled among the trees with spacious lawns and well-kept gardens, it's furnished in the most excellent taste. I'm no expert, but to say that I was impressed by the extraordinary works of art in that home would be the understatement of the week. Engravings, prints, fine sculptures, but most of all, paintings. And even to my unpracticed eye, all of them were, well, magnificent.
Here's a little thing I picked up in London, Johnny. It's called The Old Man in Red by Goya.
Wow. Hey, I thought original oils by him were found only in the big museum.
Well, I've been pretty lucky in getting hold of some of these.
Yeah, you've known what you were doing, too.
You like this one? It's called Fright. It was painted by Kenneth McManus.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Like all the rest of them.
Thanks. How about this one here at the end?
Night Wind by, I'm sorry, Vincent, I can't make out that name. You don't have this one lighted like the rest.
No, that's to maintain its somber mood, Johnny.
Oh.
And that's what made it possible for the substitution of this copy to go undetected.
That's a copy?
Yeah, and that's my problem. The $100,000 Night Wind by Jean-Baptiste has been stolen. This was left in its place.
Oh, I see.
It's not a bad copy, probably worth a couple of $100, but it's hardly a genuine Baptiste.
Well, when did you discover this substitution, Vincent?
When I returned from a lecture tour early last week.
Oh, that's right. You've been traveling all over the country lecturing on art.
Now, let's call it talking about art, huh?
Tell me, have you notified the police about this?
I suppose I should have. Well, I felt that was Bert Parker's job.
And you haven't been able to reach him over at State Mutual?
As I told you on the phone, he hasn't been in his office for some time.
Vincent, have you any theories about who might have done this?
Yes, I'm afraid I have.
Well, why do you say it that way?
Very few people knew I'd gotten hold of this Baptiste, only some close friends and a couple of art experts.
So?
And the place was not broken into during the time I was away. Of that I'm sure.
Well, go on.
The family and servants kept very close track of anyone who entered the house while I was gone.
You have a list?
Yes, I do have a list. Here.
Good. Alfred R. Hawkinson.
That's an electrician who came to do some wiring. He wouldn't know a Rembrandt from a Mickey Mouse.
Ann M. Schumann.
A music teacher. Loves music, hates paintings.
What about delivery boys, people like that?
Oh, they never get beyond the back door. Go on, read on. That next one is Ben, the gardener. You can forget about him.
And Bert L... Huh?
Yeah, Bert Parker. He was here twice.
What for?
Well, ostensibly to check on some of the paintings he'd insured. The first time, on the 11th, Mrs. Price was with him while he poked around. On the 15th, she had to leave to keep an appointment. And just when he left the house, nobody seems to know.
Oh, brother. Are you thinking the same thing I am?
Now, look, Johnny, I haven't known Bert very long, and, well, he seemed like such a harmless little old fuddy-duddy. As for his knowledge of art...
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Well, he was perfectly satisfied to take my evaluation on the 2 or 3 things he'd insured. So, well, Johnny, I may be all wrong.
Vincent, a thing like this may only happen once in 1,000 years. In any event, the company will certainly make good your loss.
Well, with a work of art, it isn't really the money that counts. And, Johnny, listen. Look, I may have jumped to a completely unjustified conclusion about Bert Parker.
Oh, yeah? Sure. Well, let's go down to his office and see.
We'll return to Johnny Dollar and the Price of Fame matter. That's Vincent Price in just a moment.
February 2nd, 1958, yours truly, Johnny Dollar on Classic Radio Theater.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you just have a plan you're not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. There are hundreds of thousands of members, and they love it. MediShare has a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and this is obviously huge. The typical family saves around $6,000 a year switching to MediShare. Find out more. They're great to talk to. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE.
Before Vincent Price became the horror legend we know today in so many movies like House of Wax, The Fly, The Mad Magician, Return of the Fly, he was basically a character actor. He had a couple of starring roles, both dramatic and humorous. He was in Champagne for Caesar with Ronald Colman. But you hear him here in one of his favorite sidelines, and that was radio. Of course, he was the Saint from 1947 to 1951 on radio, and he was also a valiant art collector. He had a degree in art history, and a lot of people don't know about. So those of you who only know him from his horror roles and his narration of Thriller for Michael Jackson, Vincent Price was quite a well-read man and did an awful lot of stuff apart from acting. From February 2nd, 1958, Bob Bailey and Vincent Price, and yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
And now, Act 2 of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and the Price of Fame matter.
A priceless original oil painting stolen from the home of Vincent Price, famous radio and picture star. One of the few people who'd had the opportunity was the man who'd sold him the insurance on it, Bert Parker. Together, we went to Parker's office at State Mutual in downtown Los Angeles.
It was on the 16th that Mr. Parker phoned in to say he wasn't feeling very good and wouldn't be in for a day or two.
Hey, it was on the 15th that he was at your house, Vincent.
Yes, that's over 2 weeks ago.
And you haven't heard from him since, Miss Pritt?
No, Mr. Dollar. We've tried calling his apartment, but since there hasn't been anything really pressing here at the office.
What's the address of his apartment, please?
Well, it's out in Westwood, 1308 Pandora Avenue.
Look, Vincent, I'm going out there. I'll call you if I find...
You're going to need transportation, aren't you, Johnny?
By the highest price chauffeur in the country? Sure, why not?
Oh, before you go, Mr. Price, I wonder if... if I could have your autograph.
Well, why didn't you get Johnny Dollars, Miss Britt? He loves to give them.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no. No, you don't, Vincent. Let's go. It took a little persuading, but the landlord at Bert's apartment finally let us into his four-room suite. It was empty, except for a few old clothes, and it was obvious that he'd packed and left in a hurry. I rummaged around in the closets, tables, bureau, for a clue as to where he might have gone, and came up with nothing.
You give up, Johnny?
Yeah, Vincent, I'm afraid so.
I poked around that desk some more after you'd finished with it and found this wedged in behind a drawer.
Oh? Travel folder. Paris.
Yeah, it looks real fresh, too.
Minor travel agency, Beverly Hills.
Well, what do you think?
Pretty much of a long shot, Vincent.
But they do pay off sometimes, don't they?
Planned a trip for myself, yes, sir. First class all the way.
What was the departure date, Mr. Miner?
16th, first class, straight to Paris.
Oh, brother. Paris is a pretty big place.
Did you make any arrangements for him for after he got there?
Only for when he arrived. Reservation at the Louvois.
What?
The hotel, Louvois.
The Louvois, perhaps.
That's what I said. First class, too. Said he wanted something not too far from the Montmartre.
Montmartre, if you don't mind.
That's what I said, yes. Now, can I fix you gentlemen up with some plane reservations, too?
Well, suppose you give me the same flight he took, and I'll stop at the same hotel when I get there.
Hey, wait a minute, Johnny. You're not going to leave me out of this.
Well, look, I'm still playing a long shot, Vincent, a very long one.
What's the difference?
Also, I don't know if my expense account will get by the home office.
Expense account, forget it. I'm having a ball. Mr. Miner, start making those reservations.
Expense account item 2, $984 for the plane to Paris. Well, it turned out to be the most interesting flight I've ever made because of the company of Vincent Price. An amazing conversationalist. He could talk about anything, including art. And he has a tremendous sense of humor. So, as he put it, we had a ball from the time we took off in L.A. till the time we set down in Le Bourget. Item 3, 520 American, taxi into the Hotel Louvois, where the manager was, somewhat helpful.
Mais oui. The Monsieur Parker left us but only 2 days ago, after some slight misunderstanding about l'addition, the deal.
Yeah, you mean he was running out of money?
Monsieur, I did not say that.
That's what you meant, isn't it?
You know where he spent his time around here?
But of course. His business, he say, took him constantly to Montmartre.
Where in Montmartre?
Who is to know?
That's like saying somewhere in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn? Perhaps you know my cousin.
Johnny, Johnny, I just got an idea.
Shoot.
Works of art, even very good ones, are sometimes sold in rather unorthodox ways. They go through some rather strange hands. They're not always sold over the counter, so to speak, by reputable dealers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but how to contact the kind of people who might... You got any ideas?
Why don't you just go on up to our suite and sit tight for a while, I'll see what I can dig up.
You are keeping something from me, Vincent.
Mm-hmm. But, Johnny, there are some things even funk keeps from wagging. I'll see you later.
All of gay, romantic Paris just outside the door, and time on my hands. So what did I do? Took Vincent Price's advice, went back to my room at the Hotel Louvois, and waited. 2, 3, 4 hours. Finally, shortly after 8 p.m., Vincent came in bearing a couple of packages.
Sorry to have made you wait, Johnny, but I think I'm on the trail of something.
Looks to me like you've been on a shopping spree.
Props, Johnny, for you.
Have you found out where Bert Parker is?
No, but I think you will. Here, try this on.
Huh? What's this all about? A 10-gallon hat?
Yeah, I had to guess at your size.
Where in Paris did you find this?
Try it on.
Oh, what do you... Holy... What am I supposed to be, a refugee from Texas?
Exactly. You made it in oil wells. Your name is Matthew.
Huh?
You're over here to see the sights, all the wild nightlife you've heard about, the Folie Bergère, Rue Blondel, Place Pigalle. Here, try on this shirt.
Oh, brother. Look, I don't know what this is all about, but hadn't we better get something to eat?
Try it on.
If you don't take me to one of the world-famous restaurants in this town.
Maybe tomorrow.
Huh?
Yeah, that's good. That shirt's going to be all right.
What do you mean tomorrow?
Here, now, stick this genuine simulated imitation diamond type stick pin in the front. Wait a minute, I'll do it for you.
Yeah, what the Sam?
There you are, and with this big hunk of glass on your finger. There now, look at you.
Oh, you look. I'm hungry.
Well, maybe you'll even get food where you're going.
Now, where do you think I'm going in this rig?
To a little joint on the Rue Blondel called the Bal Macabre.
And what am I supposed to do there, if I go there?
Sit around. Look prosperous. And see what happens.
Oh, Vincent.
Remember, you made it in oil. Millions.
Yeah, but Vincent...
Also, you're interested in art, and your name is Matthew.
Look, will you?
On your way, Johnny. The taxi that's waiting for you out front knows exactly where to take you.
The Bal Macabre was really a joint. It was dirty, and the people packed like sardines in it were dirty, too. Characters who made a business of being characters. And everybody screamed at everybody else. Except, that is, for the wormy little man who sidled up to the postage stamp-sized table on which my glass and a bottle of wine were balanced.
Pardon. You are Mr. Matthews, are you not?
That's right.
From Texas, no?
Yes, sir, partner. The great and glorious state of Texas. Sit down and pour yourself a glass of this here red ale. Who are you?
They call me La Chagrin.
What's that mean?
Well, they're what you call the gray cat.
Hey, that's cuter than the name of my old friend Coyote Bill.
Well, do you enjoy the Paris nightlife?
You know something? I'm getting fed up with it. Yeah, I think I'll just buy me a couple of nice pictures and go on back home.
What kind of pictures, monsieur?
Well, good ones. Oil pictures. Like that Mona Lisa I've seen at the Louvre. You know, good ones, I mean.
Or like a Jean-Baptiste, perhaps?
You mean you know where a man could get a hold of a genuine one of them?
Well, for a price, of course.
Well, listen, I got money and I'll spend it. Well, I offered them $500,000 for that Mona Lisa, but they turned me down. But if I could get a hold of a genuine Baptiste, well, partner, you just name the price.
Oh, well, I'll make no promises, mon ami. But I do have a friend, and for a slight consideration...
Name your price and take me to it.
I will be waiting for you at the corner with the taxi. That is what you call okay?
Okay.
I shall be waiting.
I'll be there, partner. You bet I will. And I'd certainly like to know how Vincent set this up. The taxi dropped us off at one of the most disreputable-looking apartments in the whole of Paris. My friend, who called himself the Gray Cat, looked carefully around before entering the front door. Then we climbed 4 flights of a dark, musty stairway.
No, remember, my friend, you are not to pay the price he asked at first. If you like, I will make the arrangements for you.
Now, that would be right friendly of you, partner. But how would you come out on this?
Well, all I ask, monsieur, is 10% of what you pay.
And maybe a little extra from him for bringing me up here?
Oh, monsieur.
Oh, now, don't give me that, partner. I've been around. I'm wise to how you fellas operate. If I can get a hold of a real, genuine Baptiste...
You will see.
Yes? Who is it?
I have brought a friend, Monsieur Matthews from Texas.
Yes?
Yes, he would like to buy The Night Wind by Baptiste.
That is, if it's genuine.
Genuine? Of course it's genuine.
There, on the table. Can't you see for yourself that it's the original?
No, your ears do not deceive you. That is, in fact, Howard McNear. He was Doc Adams in the Radio Gunsmoke, and on the Andy Griffith Show from 61 to 67, he was Floyd the Barber. Oh, my gosh. And you got to wonder where this all comes out, and we'll find out in just a few moments here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're listening to an episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, February 2nd, 1958, The Price of Fame Matter, and it stars not only Bob Bailey as Johnny Dollar, but also it stars Vincent Price and so many other great radio names you hear in this. Junius Matthews, who I believe is portraying the Peter Lorre type character. It's amazing. Fun stuff on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. I want to take just a moment during this few moments. I got a minute here before we go to our break for your favorite radio station. But I want to thank a friend of ours, Jimmy in Boston, who not only sent me a wonderful museum-quality piece of our my friend Irma, but also sent me now a museum-quality piece of our good friend Stan Freberg, who was such a funny man, who did such biting satire. But if you could release yourself, it was such a delight. He did, I think it was 13 weeks in the old Jack Many Times slot in 1957. And the problem was money. They couldn't get a sponsor for the show, a sponsor that was acceptable to Freberg, that is. Anyway, I've chatted to. I wanted to thanks to Jimmy, and tell you we'll be back with the conclusion of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and another episode of the Quarter Hour Serial when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues after these words from your favorite station.
Oh, come on, I hate you. You have no right to speak to me. You're stupid, you're evil. You believe in your God, guns, and gold. You shouldn't have the right to vote. We must fix this disgusting country now. We want socialism now.
Whoa there, little fella. Our U.S. Constitution protects your right to say these things, even if they are drivel.
Our founders believed in our inalienable rights granted by God, not some mafia. Our Bill of Rights protects your personal freedoms, your absolute right to speak to others, whether loving and kind or hateful and stupid.
Utopia doesn't exist. It only destroys. Millions of innocents slaughtered by the communists in Cambodia, China, and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
And millions of people were gassed by Hitler's National Socialist Party.
Where do you stand? Help us save the Constitution and restore our American dream. Go to SaveMyFreedom.com. That's SaveMyFreedom.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
I've done a lot of talking in this edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, but it's always fun to talk about so many of the great things that Classic Radio bring you. And we're now going to bring you the conclusion of The Price of Fame Matter, an episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey and Vincent Price from February 2nd, 1958.
Oh, no.
Well, Bert Parker.
Johnny Dollar.
That's right. Insurance investigator.
Investigate you? Oh, I just remembered somebody is waiting for me.
That's right, I am.
Mr. Price. Oh, no.
Well, pardon me, Mr. Price, but I must go.
Without your fee for taking care of Mr. Dollar?
Listen, both of you, please. I'll give you back the painting. I'll do anything you ask.
Oh, drop dead.
Oh, dear.
Well, Vincent, there it is. Yep. And it looks like the company has saved a cool $100,000.
I have a confession to make about that, Johnny.
Yeah, like how you happen to know the way to the painting through that squirmy little fellow who brought me here.
Oh, well, that's how I got hold of the Batiste in the first place. It's a lovely thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is.
And, Johnny, it is worth $100,000.
Oh, I'm sure.
But the truth of the matter is I paid only $300 for it. You paid.
Oh, no.
It's a fact.
Well, you've got it back thanks to your own efforts.
Thanks to your being the front man. If I'd tried to get it back myself, these people would have run like scared rats.
Oh, sure. Just tell me one thing, will you? Why aren't you an insurance investigator?
Well, you know, it's every man to his own. Well, after all, why aren't you an actor?
Let's get out of here. Disposition of Bert Parker? Well, that's entirely up to the company. Vincent, now that he has the painting back, doesn't care one way or the other. However, from the company's standpoint, well, it's not the kind of black eye that's good for you. Expense account total, including incidentals and transportation back to the States, $2,341. Remarks? Well, to Vincent Price, my eternal thanks. Not only for the help on this case, but most of all because it's given me a chance to really know him. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Now, here's our star to tell you about next week's story.
Next week, the heart of sunny southern Jersey, and a case that took a very sudden, very strange twist. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, originates in Hollywood and is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote today's story. Heard in our cast were Virginia Gregg, Junius Matthews, Tony Barrett, Forrest Lewis, Howard McNear, and of course our special guest, Vincent Price. Be sure to join us next week, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is Dan Cubberly speaking.
I have to tell you that even though that was a good episode of the show, it did not have the depth that if you had serialized that across the 5 15-minute shows. And that was part of the beauty. Bob Bailey did such a wonderful job in those quarter-hour episodes, and they were able to flesh them out so much that... yeah, and it was only a 25-minute time slot that they had for the show. So once you took out the 3 minutes worth of commercials that they had, there was very little meat left on the bone once you got there. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, February 2nd, 1958. Another episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar is next as we work on the Flight 6 matter on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The big Overstock sale going on right now at MyPillow.com. If you know somebody who likes body pillows, the MyPillow body pillow, deeply discounted to just $39.95. Also, they have select pillowcases, couch pillows, and individual towels deeply discounted. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square, use my promo code USA, and get deep discounts just for you at MyPillow.com. Now on Classic Radio Theater Part 4, the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Flight 6 Matter. This was originally broadcast February 2nd, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Inspector Mucklin's office, Gino Romero.
Oh, Gino. What did you find out? Did you locate any of them? Beneficiaries of the crash of Flight 6?
Si, senor. It was an affair most simple. A matter of making a telephone call to the airport.
Then they've left Mexico City.
Si, senor. A señorita Marvel Terrence has taken the 10 o'clock plane this morning to Acapulco.
Oh?
Senor Blakely has taken the 11:30 plane to Acapulco. Senor Ramon de Lagos has taken the 2 o'clock...
Plane to Acapulco. And what about Don Serrano?
Oh, with him, it's different. At 2:45, he's depart from Mexico City in a special charter plane.
Look, Gino, is there another flight to Acapulco this afternoon?
But, of course, at 4:30. Already I have 2 reservations.
Good. I'll meet you at the airport. What's the flight number? Gino.
I'm scared to think of it. This one is also called Flight 6.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location Mexico City, to the Home Office, Guaranteed Transport Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, the Flight 6 matter. Expense account continued. Item 9, $63.45. Incidentals in Mexico City and plane fare to Acapulco. One more of the sharp contrasts of Mexico. We left the stiff formality of the city behind us, the cool, thin air of the high plateau, and 50 minutes later, we stepped off the plane and into the steaming heat of the tropics. Barefoot tourists in shorts and barefoot natives in white cotton dungarees. Soft brown skins and flashing teeth. Mangoes, papayas, and the heady scent of tropical flowers. Blue sky, blue Pacific, and a burning sun. And a bay so bright and beautiful it breaks your heart. Acapulco. Gino Romero of the Department of Civil Air Transport knew his way around. So I waited for him while he checked his contacts, airport police, custom agents, limousine drivers. And in a few minutes, he'd made his rounds and rejoined me in front of the terminal.
It is an affair most simple, senor. A merely matter of ask the question and listen to the answer.
What did you find out, Gino?
Señorita Miss Stearns is stay at the Hotel Los Flamingos.
So?
Senor Blakely is also stay there. Ramon de Lagos is go to the Hotel Caleta. And Don Serrano is stay at the Club de Pesca. So you see?
Yeah, I see. All right, Gino, let's get going.
And where we are going is to the,
We'll put up at the Los Flamingos.
That is what I'm expecting. Oh, she's very beautiful, senor.
True, but there are even better reasons for staying there.
¿Qué dice?
Well, in some way, I'm not yet sure how. I think this whole thing centers right around Marble Terrace.
You think it's possible she's guilty of the crash of the Flight 6 to collect the insurance?
Maybe. Or she might have been used. Or maybe... Oh, I don't know, Gino. But it's about time we found out. Expense account, item 10, $1.50. Limousine fare from the airport to the hotel. The Flamingos is built on a point near the far end of the peninsula, set on a headland high above the white smother of surf below. And there, just before dusk, with the western sky a yellow blaze of glory beyond the far rim of the Pacific, I found her. She was sitting on the open terrace by the edge of the cliff. And once again, she was alone.
Sit down, Johnny.
Thanks.
I suppose I should be surprised, but I'm not, really. I guess I rather expected you.
Well, then wasn't it a waste of time to run away from Mexico City?
I've always run away, I guess.
And most of the time, I imagine you've been followed.
Or maybe I wanted to face you here, where it's so beautiful. Where perhaps you'd be able to understand me a little better.
Is that what you want, Marble? To be understood?
Doesn't every woman?
I thought it was more often the man. And usually it's his wife who doesn't understand him, isn't it?
I see this isn't going to be just a social chat.
Oh, I doubt if it could ever be just a social chat. Not with you. You've got too much impact for that.
A compliment?
That's a fact.
There's no place else in the world with sunsets like the ones here. Every evening. It's like there's another land way off there in the west. It's a strange, bright, golden land. And it keeps calling, coaxing.
Only in a little while it'll disappear. And everything will be dark off there in the west.
Maybe you do understand me, Johnny. Maybe that's why I'm half afraid of you. Another reason I ran, maybe. I can be a fool, easy. Sort of hereditary defect, you might say.
Oh, that's a common affliction. Rarely fatal.
Rarely doesn't help. Once is enough. You know something? When I die, I want to be buried up there in the middle of a sunset.
It'd be kind of lonely, wouldn't it?
I think I've always been lonely. Do you know I haven't a single living relative in the world? Not one. I was 14 when my parents were killed in an auto accident. I stayed in a boarding school, and the bank handled the estate. When I was 21, they turned it over to me. And since then, I guess that's not what you want to know, though, is it?
Not exactly. Want to tell me about it, Marvel?
No. As a matter of fact, I don't. I don't even want to think about it.
It would be better if you would.
For whom? For me? I doubt it. I feel dirty, Johnny. Telling wouldn't change that.
It might.
Anything I'd tell you would be only suspicion, not fact.
Would it?
Unless, of course, you're expecting a confession.
Do you have one to make?
No.
But you know who caused Flight 6 to blow up and why, don't you?
No. I can make a guess, that's all.
Like to tell me that guess?
You'll find out soon enough, Johnny, and I'd rather it didn't come from me.
11 people have died, Marvel.
I know.
10 on the plane that crashed, and the baggage handler who was murdered later, and
You
whoever...
don't have to remind me of it. I couldn't forget it if I wanted to. I told you how I felt, now drop it, Johnny.
All right.
I didn't know. That's all I can claim. I just didn't know.
What do you mean?
Nothing. Look. It's dark out there now. And sunset's gone.
There's always another one.
I wonder.
Have you ever met Don Serrano, brother-in-law of Ramon de Lagos?
No, but he was pointed out to me.
Did you see him at the airport the night Flight 6 was blown up?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Did you see Ramon?
No.
Did he know you'd canceled your reservation that night?
He didn't even know I had one.
Have Ramon and Bill Blakely ever met?
Yes, they met. And detested each other on sight.
Well, that's understandable in view of the circumstances.
Oh, I guess, but why are people like they are?
Did you arrange for Blakely to follow you here?
I didn't tell anybody I was coming.
And he was a good guesser. So was Ramon and Don Serrano.
I know. They're all here. Why? They don't even know me. They don't want to know me. Not in any real way, but they're here.
Oh, yeah, they're here. And I think you ought to tell me what you know, Marvel.
Tomorrow, maybe. Not tonight. Let me have just one night, Johnny.
All right.
Take me to dinner. Dance with me. Laugh with me. Give me just one evening. Will you, Johnny?
Sure. And thank my lucky star for the chance.
You're sweet. I'm saying it now. Without any strings. No matter how things work out. I'll still mean it. You're a sweet guy, Johnny. Give me time to change.
I went to my room and made 2 phone calls while I waited for her. The operator at the Club de Pesca informed me that Don Serrano was not in. The clerk at the Hotel Caleta said the same thing about Ramon de Lagos. I didn't leave my name with either of them. Bill Blakely was staying in room 23, a few doors on down the terrace, so I decided to go have a talk with him before I went out to dinner with Marvel Terrence. But as it happened, I didn't have to go to that much trouble. Yeah, who is it?
Blakely, I'd like to talk to you.
Come on in.
Do you always cover your visitors with a gun?
Only when I spot them listening outside my door.
I don't know
I
what
saw your shadow against the shutter there. You've been standing outside for the last 5 minutes, Blakely. You listened to me make a couple of phone calls. Did you learn anything you wanted to know?
Dollar, suppose you were suspected of sabotaging an airliner and killing 10 people. Wouldn't you want to know what kind of a case was being built up against you?
What makes you think you're under suspicion, Blakely?
I know I am. Ed Palmer and Jim Rourke were my partners. When they died on that plane, I became sole owner of the firm. There's the motive. I've got a warehouse full of dynamite in Mexico City. There's the method.
I can go even farther than that.
What do you mean?
You mentioned one motive. Why didn't you mention the other one?
What other one?
Marvel Terrence. That crash not only eliminated a pair of business partners, it wiped out a couple of rivals.
Just one thing wrong with that, Dollar. Marvel had a reservation on that plane herself. She only decided at the last minute not to go. I wouldn't have been gaining much if I'd killed her along with my rivals, as you call them.
Uh-huh. Maybe that's why you cornered her at the airport and argued her out of going.
Yes, I did talk her out of the trip. But not because I'd planted an explosive on board.
How do you feel about her, Blakely?
I'd give my left arm. It wouldn't do any good. I'm just not the guy. I never have been and never will be. Maybe you are. She says she's having dinner with you tonight.
That's right. She is.
How do you feel about her, Dollar?
I don't know. Expense account item 11, $26.40. Taxis, dinner, drinks, and dancing for 2. The Copacabana with its blue lights and the surf right at your feet and a million stars low enough to touch the warm water of the bay lapping softly at the pilings. The Las Americas, the Casablanca, music, champagne, and the tropic night. And then finally, much later.
Good night, Johnny, and thank you. Tonight, for the first time I can remember, I wasn't alone.
And then, only an hour afterward, I was wakened out of a sound sleep.
Senor Dollar.
Right with you, Gino. What was it?
It's a señorita, I think.
She's a number 8. Come on. But she wasn't a number 8. Her door was standing open and the room was empty. We searched the terrace out toward the edge of the cliff where I talked with her at sunset. We saw the broken section of railing and found one of her slippers and a pack of her cigarettes lying nearby. In pitch darkness, we slid and scrambled down the steep path to the beach. And there by the edge of the surf, we found her. The warm foam reached out for her, as though to carry her away, to that last sunset she'd loved so much. She looked very beautiful, but very much alone. as alone and as lonely as death.
Now, here's our star to tell you about the final intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, a desperate killer is cornered and strikes back in a deadly counterattack. Final showdown. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
And there you have it, an hour of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, wrapping up there with the fourth part, or the 5-part Flight 6 matter from February 2nd, 1956. I have mentioned him before, but I'll mention him again. Our friend Ted over at RadioMemories.com has a huge collection of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, going all the way back to the audition show with Dick Powell and then the other actors who played Johnny Dollar, Charles Russell, Edmund O'Brien, John Lund, also Bob Bailey, Bob Reddick, and the last Johnny Dollar, Mandel Kramer. He has them all available on cassette, on CD, or on flash drive for your computer, and I want to thank him very much. He sent me a whole bunch of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar shows. He loaned me a drive, sent them to me, and I sent them back, and that's where we've gotten a lot of our shows, is from Ted. RadioMemories.com is his website, RadioMemories.com, and I hope he doesn't get mad at me for doing this, but I think a lot of you are not internet connected and you would like to get a hold of Ted. You can contact him at P.O. Box 94548 in North Little Rock, Arkansas, 72190, or area code 501-920-6089. If you miss that, contact your local radio station, because I do send those to the radio stations, and they have all that information to get a hold of Ted. Everything I talk about at the end of the show, including podcast information and all that, you can get at my webpage, classicradio.stream, classicradio.stream, including all of our social media contact information. Please take a moment to thank this radio station and support their advertisers, but more importantly, tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, right here on your favorite radio station.